brew time, kids. So, interesting little job here. Ranger 400 2014. Came in from a customer saying not running, and we got it after it had been to another dealer. It's had no cam chain tensioner, no cam end bearing support cap, like a 10-1 done one. So we ended up grabbing a few bits off an old bike, building it back up again, checking the old compression on. She was leaking like a sieve. So stripped her down and found out that the barrel had completely sort of turned itself inside out. Big old chunks down the side. Piston was in a state. Didn't know why it had done it, so obviously we're now sort of just belt and braces the old girl. The head was skimmed. Barrel was oversized, 0.25. OEM piston and rings. Used the cam chain tensioner and the end cap bearing cover. Excusez-moi. Rebuilt the damn thing. She was shooting like a good one. But the bad side of things, she was pumping oil back into the airbox. So that's not supposed to happen. These bad boys run a remote oil tank. You've got to feed in to the bottom of the crank. And you've got to feed out back to the pump, the tank, so the remote tank. So we were sort of a little perplexed by the amount of oil coming out of this crankcase breather, which is there. So we worked out by process of elimination, checked the top end, that was getting oil still. So oil was basically going in, circulating around, doing all its thing inside the engine, but instead it was basically pooling in the bottom of the crankcase, getting to this point where it was just basically pumping straight out of there again. So we were thinking somewhere between the scavenging tube, the oil pump, and the actual hoses. So we took the hoses off, took the tank off, cleaned it all out, and built it back up again, still doing the same thing. Son of a gun. So rang the customer, said basically at some at bottom end, we've got to take the engine out, split the case, and then get to the oil pump. So we managed to do that. When we came to it, I'll put some pictures on as well. I think you can do that, can't you? We had one scavenging, what is it? It's like a pre-filter. This was screwed onto the bottom there with one bolt. Now obviously there's 3 holes. This was the second one. That's had a little bit of an adventure inside the bottom of the engine, bouncing around like a pinball. Done a little bit of sort of impact on the side there, but nothing superficial. Nothing superficial. Nothing serious. This is superficial. If that had wedged itself in there, though, completely different ball game. But anyway, we managed to avoid that fate. But where was the third screw? The third gunman. Anyway, turns out we took the bottom of this off and managed to get the oil pump off. Actually, you didn't even get that far. We just took the bottom of the thing off, and you could look down the bottom of there, and it had wedged itself in that gallery, in the pickup tube, and it was the perfect size. So that was in there, completely blocking it, which explains why the remote tank was dry and the oil was just basically pumping its ass into the bottom of the crankcase. So yeah, we've just had a brew now. Ryan will get back onto it, rebuild the sucker, see how she roars once we get it back together again. Thanks for watching, dudes. Subscribe here. Comment below. Give us a thumbs up. Thanks for watching. Take care. See ya.